currently hungover. Oh no, they are not our friends. We just gave them a lift from the party. You sure have a case to answer. You already said that you were friends. And so, of course, what also happens when people go to parties in, raves and they're trying to dirty December is the fact that you have quite a number of people that you walk around with, party with, and you may just, casually call them friends. But the one person you should be responsible for and that you can account for is actually yourself. And so that's another thing that can happen in this time where we find out that not everyone is on our vibe or on our level or at our frequency. Now, case study 4 is one that I titled Chop and Quench. An SO thought to himself, this December must be one to remember. That was in 2022. And SO said that just like I did 2 years ago, I will make the rounds of all the houses of my friends and I will eat till food becomes my second name. SO did have his fill, and even much more on Christmas Day. And the next few days after that, SO clearly wanted to chop and quench. But what happened after that was SO then battled food poisoning. And the causative bacteria, the bacteria that caused this food poisoning, was one that was resistant to most medications. And so SO sat in regret after a few days, saying that buying antibiotics and getting healthcare in this economy is not being so. What have I gotten myself into? And so part of the reason why I have decided to share some of the stories is that a lot of people have a litter of expectations when December comes. Some want to chop and quench. Some just want one drag. Some want to drink all the alcohol they've not had time to drink all of this while. Some want to party hard and party wild with friends. Some want to hang out with friends, the IJGBs. But the honest truth is that there's a lot that goes into these thoughts and considerations. And it's the reason why we're having this conversation as to how best to have optimal mental health in and around the holiday seasons. And so I say to us that the holidays are upon us, the season of cheer, of laughter, of sharing gifts and goodness, the Christmas holidays to be precise. It's one that we usually wait, and then when the Hamatan starts coming in or the snow, wherever you are, you know that the Christmas is here. You see lots of decorations, you see Santa all dressed up. Again, people have a lot of plans. It also, of course, coincides with the end of the year. And during the end of the year, different people are in different mind states. This morning, I was on social media and I saw a young lady put up that, there was an expectation that she hoped would happen this year, but it didn't, but that she's looking forward to next year. Some other people will come and put on their achievements. And of course, it's not a bad thing. But unfortunately, what happens is that the people who have not been able to achieve, if they're not well-grounded or don't have a healthy self-esteem, they start to compare themselves. The comparison game starts and they start to feel low with their perception about themselves. Their self-esteem drops. They may become anxious. They may become depressed. And they may just want to say that, just to, get out of this funk, let me go and get something that will lift my spirits. And what may lift their spirits may be that they are turning to substances of abuse. Of course, there are the unique pressures that also come when the year is coming to an end. The unique pressures of the fact that, people are trying to impress, people are trying to show people that, well, I have arrived, especially for people who may be traveling to different parts of the country. You want to show your friends that, well, they're not the only ones that have expensive gadgets and expensive cars and expensive things. Everyone has unique pressures in their own lives. People also have mixed feelings, emotions, and behaviors. A lot of people are dealing with different things. On Friday, I attended a burial ceremony, and it was very, very sobering for me to think that, a family is ending this year having lost a loved one. Some people at this time of the year have gotten a new job. Some have gotten a new baby. Someone may have lost a baby. Someone may have lost a spouse or a loved one. Someone may have passed an exam. Someone may have missed an opportunity that they were looking forward to all their lives. And so we are all at different, stages and phases of our lives. I like to describe it as different strokes for different folks. At this time as well, there are also people who are lonely, who are alone, who have no one to spend Christmas with them, either because their relatives are jackpot, they're not in the country, or they don't even have loved ones to look at, or they don't even have people who genuinely care for them. And so while it is a season of cheer, of joy and laughter, of giving, of kindness, to some people, it's also a very quiet, lonely, isolated time. And so it's different strokes for different folks. And of course, while all of these things happen to us, our responses as individuals may also differ and go a long way to impacting or affecting our mental health. And so usually when we talk about mental health, people talk about mental health. Oh, they'll say, oh, it's colo, it's I don't have mental health, though, just because they hear the word mental. But you see, the honest truth is that mental health refers to the state of your mind. And for us to say that an individual has mental health, it means that that individual is successfully able to perform the functions of the mind. Now, what are the functions of the mind? The mind functions to think, to imagine, to cogitate, to experience, to perceive, and of course, to even behave in certain ways. Of course, when an individual is mentally healthy, we say that that individual is able to have thriving relationships with themselves and relationships with other people as well. This individual is also able to cope with the normal stresses of life. So usually when people hear about stress, they're like, stress is bad, stress is the enemy. But the honest truth is that stress is a normal physiological response. And all of us have the stress response. In fact, the only people that don't have the stress response are people who are 6 feet under. And so stress will happen, but stress is not bad. It is exposure to chronic stress that can be very distressing and debilitating. And so an individual who is mentally healthy must be able to cope with the normal stresses of life. That individual must also be able to engage in fruitful and productive activities. And last but not the least, that individual must be able to contribute their own quota to the environment that they live in. Of course, it goes without saying that all of us have mental health. But you see, when life throws us challenges, obstacles, curveballs, our health may be tilted and affected in such a way that if we don't have the right resources, if we don't have the right mindset, we might struggle, or the right support system, we might struggle and find ourselves going towards mental illness. And so what are some of the threats in this day and age? And of course, in this Christmas, in this our Nigeria, in this world that we currently live in, what are some of the threats to our health and well-being? And the first one, again, while I had said that stress can be good, stress is a normal response, it's the fact that when you are exposed to overwhelming stress that is chronic, that is there morning, afternoon, night, regardless of the day of the week, that kind of stress can begin to affect not just your mind, but your physical body as well. Stress can predispose us, especially when chronic, to physical and mental health disorders as well. The uncertainty of the times that we're in is also a significant threat to our health and well-being. We hear of wars, we hear of rumors of wars, we hear of, insecurity in the land. We hear and we actually also feel the financial hardship. In fact, the conversation that most people are having these days is, how much is a bag of rice? And everybody is thinking, well, whoever shares a bag of rice this Christmas must be doing so well. Things are actually very, very tough financially for us as Nigerians and people all over the world. I must say that as well. Being able to feed, to even eat regular meals has become a struggle for most people. And just because some of us may be able to do it without, stress or strain, does not mean that everyone else is not doing it. In fact, a lot of conversations these days go along, the lines of how are people coping? How are people surviving in spite of the harshness of the economy? Of course, when people look at the fact that we live in Nigeria, some people say that living in Nigeria is a significant risk factor and a significant threat to our health and well-being as well. Being Nigerian, being here, waking up here, having to deal with, the light situation, having to deal with traffic, having to deal with no money, the pressure is much. And you know how they joke and they say, oh, the pressure is getting worse. There's a lot of pressure. And so some people will say that every Nigerian, regardless of your age, gender, socioeconomic status, is feeling the heat. We're feeling it and we're taking it in as Shege. And so whether that Shege is Shege Banza, Shege Pro Max, everybody is generally feeling the heat. Of course, regardless of the systemic pressures and stresses, there's also the stress that comes with family pressures. And so difficulty having good relationships with spouses, with children who may be, struggling with, ill health, difficulties in their school, wrong choice of friends, a sick relative, there's so much going on, even in the family. Some families are struggling to even make ends meet. And that for them is a significant source of stress. Workplace stress. I know that the year is winding down for quite a significant number of people who may quote and unquote close for the year. But there may be some people that even on the Christmas days, even on what is supposed to be the Christmas holidays, will be exposed to human suffering. They'll be exposed to unpredictable work hours. They'll be exposed to difficulties, in other people's lives, and may even share part of those people's trauma. So, for instance, police officers, doctors, nurses, to mention but a few, the stress from our workplaces is also a significant threat to our health and well-being. And so what are some of the common mental health conditions that people can, develop in this time? Anxiety disorders. Anxiety is an entirely normal response to a threat, but it can become a disorder when the threat, of course, is overwhelming and outlasts the response. And so people may struggle with things like generalized anxiety disorders, phobias, even PTSDs. People can also come down with depression. And depression, of course, is a mood disorder that is characterized by persistent low mood, low energy, lack of drive. For those who live abroad, of course, we speak specifically to what is known as the seasonal affective depression, which is sometimes known as the winter depression, and happens in climes where there are shorter days and longer nights. And so quite a number of people are at risk of depression, either due to the fact that it's genetic or due to the fact that there's something in the environment. We often talk about the fact that depression almost always happens in response to a loss in a relationship, loss of a loved one, loss of a loved item, loss of something that we had looked forward to or hoped, for, and it didn't happen. Of course, substance use disorders are also a common mental health condition that happen, and especially when we're trying to dirty the December. Some people are, saying, oh, when I go out, I'm going to smoke this, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this version. These things are very rampant, especially in this age and time. Some people have problems sleeping, either because they can't sleep at all, in insomnia, they have problems initiating and maintaining sleep, or some people even oversleep, hypersomnia. Some people may even have the, sleep disorder that is known as narcolepsy. Eating disorders, even though we had always said over time that eating disorders like anorexia were not very common in Nigeria, but it's beginning to change. And so eating disorders such as anorexia and even obesity, again, there's a tendency to want to overeat, especially in individuals who are not disciplined enough, especially because they think, oh, it's free food and I must chop and quench, just like in one of the case studies that I shared. Sexual disorders may also happen when people are, indiscriminate and indisciplined about who they expose themselves to. Unfortunately, that even becomes worse when they are not able to protect themselves against HIV and other sexually transmitted infections, and even unwanted pregnancies. And all of those are common in times like this, times of celebration. Now, gambling is the last one that I put on my list. And, people are trying to double money. People are trying to make easy money. People are trying to make money sharp, like we always say. And of course, again, it may come because we are in this season where people are trying to enjoy themselves. People are not thinking things deep, and their judgment is generally poor. Now, when people fall ill with mental health conditions or a mental health disorder, the impact is not just on the individual. The impact is on the individual's relationships, the individual's functionality, the individual's quality of life, relationships with loved ones, family members, friends. It affects the community as well, and it affects whether that individual is able to contribute to the environment. Of course, when people also have ill health, it affects their physical health as well. They are unable to cater to themselves. Even to their self-hygiene may be affected. Now, how can we achieve optimal mental health in and around the holiday season? Because I'm sure someone is on the call and saying, oh, Dr. G, you said all these things. Okay, we know there's fire on the mountain, but how can we support ourselves through the holiday season? And so I titled this Optimal Mental Health in and Around the Holiday Season, the 5 W's and the 1 H. And so the first thing I said is, what is optimal mental health? The what? Optimal mental health is the art of being fully present and engaged in the moment as we enjoy the festive season. The festive season is a time to be enjoyed, not endured. It's a time, when we should look around, spend with family and friends and loved ones, and be thankful for everything that has happened through the year, in spite of, the difficulties. However, for you to say that you have optimal mental health, it means that you are fully present and engaged in the moment as we all try, in spite of our circumstances, to enjoy the festive season. Now, why do we need to have optimal mental health? The why is that we need optimal mental health in this season and every time to be able to find deeper meaning and satisfaction in seemingly simple pleasures. The fact that you are awake today is a pleasure, is something that we shouldn't take for granted. When you have optimal mental health, it helps you to improve your quality of life. You can build memories with yourself and the ones that you love. You can improve your overall happiness. Of course, you're happier with yourself, you're more satisfied with yourself, and happiness can be contagious. So you can spread it just like sadness can be contagious, misery can be contagious, happiness too can be contagious. When you have optimal mental health, it prevents burnout because you are able to commit to the things that you need to do and enjoy the things that you are doing in that time. It supports your physical health. Physical health can affect mental health, and mental health can affect physical health as well. When you have optimal mental health, it reduces instances of drug and substance dependence. Instead of you looking for, what will make me high? What will make me be okay? You would be looking forward to what are some healthy things? What are some healthy coping mechanisms or skills that I can engage in to enjoy myself and my life? Of course, it enhances our relationships with ourselves and our relationships with others, because we're able to better have relationships with our friends, our families, and our loved ones. It also helps us to cultivate time and presence. We are present in the moment. Life is not just passing us by, but we are enjoying life as life goes on. And last but not the least, it reduces anxiety, stress, and the risk of other mental health conditions, including a condition as, severe as even suicide. If you have optimal mental health, you have a purpose and a sense of living. And so you continue to strive in spite of the challenges that you face day to day. Now, when do we need to have optimal mental health? Since we're looking at the 5 W's and the 1 H. And I say every time, during Christmas and the holidays after, and even in the new year, you will need optimal mental health when you're making deliberations. Should we cook 1 chicken? Should we cook 2 chicken? Should I buy 1 dress? Do I need to buy this dress? Do I really need this phone, or am I trying to show off? During deliberations, you need to be in optimal mental health to take the best deliberations. Even during our decorations, should we put a Christmas tree here? Should we put it here? What should we do? How should we decorate the house? All of these things, can be impacted when we are in optimal mental health. We also need to be in optimal mental health during eating, drinking, and visiting friends. Because if we're in optimal mental health, then we know that there's a limit. We know that we should be disciplined and we should not just keep, eating food just because we want to chop and quench. We know that there's a limit and that too much of everything can be bad for our health and well-being. In fact, too much of visiting too many people can leave you feeling exhausted and tired, such that at the end of the day, you don't even enjoy the visit. Of course, during sharing or giving gifts, you also need optimal mental health so that you are not overdoing it or underdoing it. Some people, in a bid to impress people who really don't care about them, would go, extreme and say, I have to buy this, just because you want to be like the Joneses. But at the end of the day, your bank account is not even agreeing with your shopping spree. So you need optimal mental health to even take decisions about sharing or even giving gifts. Of course, sometimes during shopping, and some people have, the habit of shopping till I drop. They have shopping impulses. They say, it's 50% sale, not realizing that it's actually back to original price. And they say, let me buy it now. I may not meet it like that in January. You need to have, optimal mental health to be able to look at what you have, understand the reserves that you have, and also understand, like we jokingly say, that January is the longest month of the year. And of course, in January, comes things like school fees, house rent, to mention but a few. And of course, during gratitude sharing, for you to be able to remember things to be grateful for, people to be grateful for, places to be grateful for, you also need your mind to be optimal. You need your mental health to be in a good place. Now, where do we need optimal mental health? And I say anywhere and at any time, whether we're at work, whether we're at play, whether we're sleeping. I mean, even when you have optimal mental health, it would influence the kind of dreams that you have when you're sleeping. When you wake up, it influences whether you wake up feeling enthused or very low in energy as well. And I say to us, I ask us this big question, in and around the holidays, who needs optimal mental health? And the answer is you. You. And of course, while saying you, I will not forget myself. I also need optimal mental health. And so please, while taking care of everyone else, while trying to cater to everyone else, the most important person you shouldn't leave out of the conversation should be yourself. You need to make yourself a priority and not an option. Ensure that you cater to your own self as well. And so I want us to identify a few people who may need more support during, the holiday periods. A number of people will be living alone in their homes at this point in time. They'll need more support during this holiday period. People who have had a major loss or life change, the loss of a loved one, of a job, the death of a spouse, a partner, retirement, termination from their job, people who struggle with money, a caregiver who may have psychological or cognitive challenges or depression. So we may have loved ones who are struggling with things like ill health, physical ill health, mental ill health. We may know some people who have limited social support. They need to be in optimal mental health. And so as we are catering to ourselves, it's also important to reach out and cater to other people as well. For people who have sensory impairments, who have problems hearing, seeing, or moving around, for whom mobility is a problem, they will need support. People who live in a rural, unsafe, or hard to reach neighborhood. Some people who have language barriers, or people who are discriminated against, or some people who may be not meaningfully engaged in activities, or who have a lack of purpose, or who are struggling with a physical or mental health challenge. They need more optimal mental health as compared with the rest of us. Of course, all of us need it. But if there are people that we should look out for, we should look out for these people. You see, we live in a selfish world right now where most people are thinking about, oh, me, my family, everyone else can sort themselves out. But you see, caring for others creates resilience. We need to care for others. While we're caring for ourselves, of course, we are the priority, but we also should be, filled enough to be able to give out of our overflow to other people as well. As I start to round up, I want to tell us about the how of optimal mental health. And the first how I said is find a quiet spot. You see, even with all the noise, even with all the fireworks, even with all the concerts, even in this time, you will need to come to some quiet place, find a quiet spot and be alone with yourself. You need to be mindful and present. Instead of worrying about the future and what the future holds, pay attention to the present. And of course, do not judge the moment, which is what mindfulness is about. Tomorrow will take care of itself. You will do the work that you need to do, but put your mind at rest so that your mind can even work when tomorrow comes. I encourage you in this moment to practice gratitude. Share and receive gifts. It's a beautiful time to give gifts. No matter what the gift is, everybody's eyes light up when they get gifts. But give good gifts if you also want to receive good gifts, because it's not just about just giving about anything. Also give things that people will be grateful for, but you do not need to break the bank to impress anyone just because you're trying to give them gifts. I encourage you to make time to rest. There's a lot of hustle and bustle in major cities. There'll be a lot of parties, a lot of get-togethers, a lot of owambes, a lot of events to dirty the December. But please, in the midst of all of this, still make time to rest. You must appreciate yourself and be grateful for how far you have come. I understand that a lot of the targets that you set out at the beginning of the year may not have been met. But hey, you're still here in health, happiness, and peace of mind. You know how they say now, 2025, we go again. Celebrate your successes, no matter how small they may look to you. And of course, practice mindfulness for short periods. Be mindful when you take a walk. Pay attention to the things that you ordinarily will not pay attention to. Be mindful when you play a song. Be mindful when you spend time with your loved ones. When you go for dates, keep your phone away. Don't always stay on the phone. People say that they're at lunch and they're watching a movie and they're pressing away at their phones. And of course, achieving mental health, optimal mental health is a process. I encourage you to be patient with the process. What are the tips to remain in optimal mental health this holiday season? Practice self-care. Number one, self-care is not selfish, but sometimes the only selfish thing you can do for yourself, or rather the only selfless thing you can do for yourself, is to be selfish. Cater to yourself. Number two, make yourself a priority, not an option. You deserve some TLC, you deserve some care and attention as well. So please take it as well. I encourage you to exercise regularly to boost your mood and improve your health as well. But of course, clear with your doctors before you go for any rigorous form of exercise. And so whether it is golf or tennis or swimming or walking, by all means, just do something that gets your body moving, improves your health, and helps you release endorphins, feel-good hormones. Number four, eat healthy. Eat regularly and stay hydrated. Eat to feed your body, not to fuel your emotions. And so avoid comfort eating. Oh, I'm sad, I'll eat. Oh, I'm hungry, I'll eat. Oh, I'm angry, I'll eat. Oh, they just served me breakfast, I want to eat. Eat to feed your body, not to fuel your emotions. And of course, remember that every time that you eat, you are either feeding disease or fighting it. Here in our line of work, sometimes we need to be very realistic. And so we say drink responsibly. And so what is responsible drinking? Learn how to say no when offered the drink. Pace your drinks. Instead of mixing all sorts of alcohol, you should know your limits, know what you should be drinking, when you should be drinking, if you should be drinking at all. Don't drink and drive. And of course, look for other activities that can make you feel happy instead of just drinking or trying to drown yourself in your sorrows. I encourage you to get enough sleep. For someone who's one of my best hobbies is sleeping, I encourage you to sleep because sleep has, it has benefits. It helps with our memory. It helps with, to help us look and feel younger and fresher as well. So sleep is not for the weak. Sleep is for the human. I encourage you to, again, use vitamin R, rest. Rest so that you can refuel and you can feel rejuvenated as well. So beyond sleep, get some rest. And so whether it's physical rest, creative rest, emotional rest, mental rest, please ensure, or even sensory rest, get some rest. And sometimes that getting rest is turn off your phone, turn off devices, and just sit in some quiet. Enjoy loneliness and perhaps some isolation for some time. Practice mindful gratitude. Beyond telling us what you are grateful for every day, don't just say, oh, I'm grateful for my dog, for my cat, for my plants, or for the love of my life. Tell us why you are grateful for those things. I'm grateful for my cat because my cat keeps me company. I'm grateful for my loved ones because they are my source of joy and happiness. Beyond being grateful, you need to be mindful about your gratitude. In this season, I encourage you, because of the reason for the season, to focus on positivity and to let go of unforgiveness. There's a lot of negativity around us, and there's a lot to be negative about, I'll be honest. Things don't appear to be getting better, but in the words of John Ford, he says, whether you think you can or you can't, you are right. And so whether you're giving energy to negativity, negativity will continue to grow. But if in spite of the difficulty around us, you are saying, it will be okay, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, but have faith. I also encourage you to let go of unforgiveness. Somebody may have wronged you. Somebody may have said something to, and you're angry at the person. You feel very resentful towards the person. In this season of Christmas, I encourage you to pick up the phone, send a message, and forgive the person. Usually when we talk about forgiveness, we say forgiveness is letting them go for your own sake. It doesn't necessarily mean allowing them into your life to cause the same hurt or pain again, but let them go and then you'll feel lighter as well. And the last but not the least is that I encourage you to stay connected. In the world that is becoming more and more lonely and isolated, in spite of the fact that we have a lot more ways to communicate with each other on social media, a lot of people are lonely. Stay connected. Reach out to a loved one. Call a loved one. The world is full of lonely people afraid to make the first move. Please make the first move today. I'd encourage you to try out a mindfulness breathing exercise. And the simple mindfulness breathing exercise that I can think of this evening is what is called the 4-7-8 breathing exercise. With the 4-7-8 breathing exercise, you breathe in through your nostrils for 4 seconds. You hold it for 7 seconds. And last but not the least, you release it through your mouth with a whoosh sound for 8 seconds. And so I'll just practice that very simply. Breathe in for 4 seconds through your nostrils. Hold it for 7 seconds and then let it out through your mouth with a whoosh sound. I would close my eyes, bring my attention to my breath, breathe in deeply through my nose for 4 seconds. Hold it for 7 seconds. And let it out through my mouth with a whoosh sound for 8 seconds. Let's take out again. Breathe in through your nostrils for 4 seconds. Hold it for 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let it out through your mouth with a whoosh sound for 8 seconds. That's a mindfulness. It's an example of a mindfulness breathing exercise, which we can try every now and then when we feel anxious, when we feel tense, when we feel stressed, when we're about to sleep. Mindfulness exercises. It can be mindful breathing. It can be mindful walking. It can be mindful talking, mindful listening to music, whatever it is that you find to do, or even mindfully listening to your partner or friends when they speak to you. Be present in the moment and do not judge the moment. Mindfulness is to the mind what physical exercise is to the body. And so if the physical exercise is helping you build muscles and giving you a six-pack, imagine if and what mindfulness can do to your mind if you practice it very regularly every day. As I close, and in ensuring that we have optimal mental health, each and every one of us, the greatest gift I feel like we can give each other this Christmas is the gift of each other. And so in the words of the Three Musketeers, it says that all for one and one for all. Be there for people. And of course, people will be there for you as well. There's a concept that is known as the emotional bank account. If you keep drawing and taking from people, after a while, people will get tired. Your stores with them will be depleted. But give to others. And of course, people will also give to you. Life is about giving and taking. But give in such a way that you want to, be the giver. The giver's hand, like we say, is always on top. But of course, like I mentioned earlier, don't go overboard. Don't break the bank just because you're trying to impress someone. But be there for someone during this holiday season. It can really be a tough period for some people this holiday season. There's also the gift of Ubuntu. I am because we are. There's power in numbers. The more we are together, the happier we will be. I mean, I just thought about that now. And of course, there's that song that says that the more we are together, the happier we will be rather. There's a gift in being with others, sharing with people, but also very importantly, people that bring up your spirit, people that make you feel better. I always encourage that you stay around people, places, and processes that make you feel good about yourself. Avoid people, places, and processes that make you feel less about yourself. So even while sharing the gift of each other, please be mindful, very mindful about the people who can affect your mental health, because you may actually need to avoid people like that in this season. And the last one is the Zulu word that says Sawubona, I see you. Empathy, the gift of empathy and kindness in this Christmas season. Usually when we talk about kindness, we talk about gifting kindness to others, but we usually leave behind the most important person, ourselves. This season, gift yourself kindness. Be kind to yourself in how you think about yourself. Be kind to yourself with how you speak to yourself. And most importantly, be kind with how you treat yourself as well. Be kind to others. And of course, see other people as well. See them beyond the work that they do for you. See people for the value that they carry, and see people for the people that they genuinely are. As I round up, I'd like to round up with a quote by Professor Vikram Patel. that mental health is too important to be left to the professionals alone. And mental health is everyone's business. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a prosperous new year from myself and all of us at Mind Trust. Please ensure that you remain in optimal mental health this season and every day of 2025. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Moju. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Please, can we appreciate her with a round of applause? Please put some emojis and let's thank her together. If you're on IG, please do so. I don't know if you can hear me. I struggle to get on IG, so I'm just sticking with Zoom. The IG thing didn't just work for me. So please on IG, Tolu, please help me tell them on IG to appreciate Dr. G, as I love to call her. Thank you so much, Dr. G, for giving us that amazing presentation. And I think it puts another angle to holidays. You know, holidays, we're all super excited. We're looking forward to it. But really, there are mental health issues potentially lurking around in there. I'm going to ask if we have any questions to please put it in the chat if you're here on Zoom with me. And if you're on IG, Tolu, please, can you repeat that on IG if you do have questions? But I'll just recap the things that taught me most as per things we can do. Make yourself priority. Not that you are selfish, but the only selfishness you're allowed, according to Dr. G, is taking care of your mental health. Am I quoting you well? We shouldn't be selfish in this season, but the only time you permit it is to take care of our mental health. Is that a correct translation?
Correct. Yes, indeed it is.
Aha, thank you very much. And that sleeping is for the human, for the sleep lovers out there. This is an endorsement that it's okay to get some sleep. Indeed, this season presents you with an opportunity to recalibrate, get enough rest. Those of you that your corporate organizations are shutting down for a week or so, this time is for you. Get that sleep. She also said vitamin R, vitamin rest. So as you take your vitamin C, vitamin D, remember vitamin R, rest is important. We don't want to burn out. Enjoy your own company. At times it's okay. Some solitude is fine. I couldn't catch everything, but the ones that, I could really let go of that unforgiveness. Let's let it go. The person that benefits from it is you, first of all, not that person. And that we must name and list out our gratitude items with reasons, not just that we list it out, but really think, why am I grateful for this person? I'm grateful for you because of this or because of that. So I'm going to welcome any question so that we can get a few questions out of Dr. G before she goes on. Thank you. I can hear Oluwatobi Hicks says, powerful presentation. Abdurrahman Abdulwaid says to everyone, power-filled session. And that speaks volumes from all of us. I will ask a question while we're waiting for others. Tolu, please ask on Instagram if we have questions. Dr. G, if it's Christmas and, home is you're not feeling Christmas at home and you suddenly start feeling sad. Oh, I wish I had this. It's because I didn't have enough money. It's because, the environment just doesn't seem to match the season. Everyone else seems to be having fun. And, potentially it can be a recipe for potential worry and sadness and mental health, negative mental health. What strategy can someone utilize? Because I suspect this Christmas may be slightly different for many people, and not because they don't have resources, but maybe because they need to reprioritize their resources. They can't use the money for school fees to enjoy Christmas, for example. They need to re-strategize how they're using their funds, okay? Their funds that they have available. So I'm coming from an angle, you do have resources, but because of the economy, you're having to just reshuffle things a bit. How do you navigate that feeling of, now, wow, is this how it's going to be? Do you have any ideas? I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yes, I do. So I think it's very interesting.
Let me echo the question a bit for those on IG in case they didn't hear. I don't know if they heard me, but okay, I'm not on IG.
I'll do that. I'll do that right away. And so Dr. Shodi is asking that, there's some people who feel like this Christmas is not Christmassy at all. They're seeing a lot of decorations. They're seeing the harmattan that comes. They're seeing the dryness, but they're not feeling it in their hearts that it's Christmas. And so they feel really bad and sad that, they may not be able to get the very best of the season. And so, it's interesting. It's a few days to Christmas, but I haven't even set up a tree just yet. I feel like, at the end of the day, it's about understanding the place of priority and the place of presence as well. For me, Christmas is it's a season. And so you can learn to celebrate that season through the eyes of others. You can be grateful in the moment for, those who are able to celebrate. Because right now, you may actually also not need a lot to celebrate. Some people think that, it's not Christmas until we've killed chicken or until we've killed jollof rice, or rather we've cooked jollof rice, until, we've made merry.
Jollof rice also.
Oh, we've made merry with friends and all of that. But you see, I think that one thing that I learned and I continue to learn is that COVID-19 revolutionized the way that we saw the world. And COVID-19 taught us that, being alive is actually extremely important. It taught us that it wasn't about the places that we were able to go, the people that we were able to see, but being able to celebrate with the people around us was just enough. And so to that individual who may be feeling sad or bad that, I don't have chickens, there's no hamper in my house. The honest truth is that as Nigerians, over the past couple of years, we've downgraded Christmas every year. And so very often, people often say that, this Christmas was not as bad as the other Christmas. It looks like it's not even getting better every year. And so what I would say is, please accept your reality. The reality is that it is what it is. There are financial pressures, there's financial difficulty. And so if all that you have to celebrate Christmas with is good health, the love of family around you, even if it's bread that you wake up to eat on Christmas morning, please don't fight your reality. It's painful that we've had to come to this kind of, Christmas. I mean, abroad, they're singing about white Christmas. People have presents under the Christmas tree. Some people who go on social media, which is another thing I always say about social media. If you feel like there's a lot of pressure on social media for you during Christmas, especially with all the matching pajamas, and many of these things are going to happen, avoid social media. But in the meantime, don't fight reality. The more you fight reality, the more you suffer. It's painful that you can't get the kind of Christmas that you want, but please make the most of the season with what you have and with the people that you have around you. Again, like I said when I was speaking, I believe that one of the best gifts that we can gift each other this Christmas season is the gift of each other. The gift of even knowing that I have a friend in someone. I have someone who supports me, who sees me, who loves me. You may not get a physical gift. You may not get something that looks like, it's worth $1 million or $1 million. But you see, the fact that you have life, at least that's what I'm telling myself. The fact that you're well, you're not in a hospital, you don't have any emergencies. And even if you have some of these things, gratitude in spite of the challenges. It may be a tough season, and it is a tough season for quite a number of people. Some people have lost loved ones. They've lost jobs. It's not the same Christmas anymore. But you see, don't fight the reality. The more you fight reality, the more you suffer. Let's practice gratitude. But most importantly, let us be the gift to other people. And so if we have friends, family members who are suffering or struggling, let us reach out to them in their season of need as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think face the reality, but also we should express gratitude and reach out. I think at least you've given some action. So even if you're feeling, not too, Christmassy, there are certain things you can do. Okay, face the reality, and I'll say maybe being adaptable also to that reality may also be a part of facing the reality and reaching out. I wonder if we have any questions from IG. Tolu, are you there?
Yes, I am, ma'am. We don't have
any questions from them?
No, we don't.
Okay, on Instagram. Okay, any other questions from here? Anyone? Or comments? Okay. So in the absence of any other questions, I'll just want to, on behalf of Mind Trust, thank Dr. Moju Bola Abiri for, always just being available. You're doing great stuff, in the mental health space, globally, and we celebrate you. Thank you for your support for the Mind Trust team and for doing this. And I think one of the things we want to say is Dr. Gboju is going to do another, she just doesn't know yet. She's going to do another talk next year, for for Mind Trust regarding our mental health. And, I can see at least one or two doctors in the room, and I'm sure that others are going to watch this video later. The reality is that we need to take care of our mental health, even as health practitioners or as regular people on the streets, we need to. Dr. Gboju is going to tell us her Instagram handle and her social media handle. She has loads of amazing stuff that I'm sure you'll benefit from if you just click and follow her. That's all I can say. Summary. And you will definitely be enlightened a lot about how to keep your mental health in a good place. Like she likes to say, or we also say a lot, is that there is no health without mental health. You can never say you have health if your mental health is struggling in any way. So let's pay attention to our mental health, holidays or not. And as the new year comes onto us, we trust that we'll be in a better place to make all the great decisions we have to do for 2025. Please follow Mind Trust on Instagram and on Facebook. We also provide some mental health awareness contact. You'll find details of how to join us or reach out or support or just participate. And I think Dr. Gboju said something also that, mental health is everybody's business. It's not just the doctor's business. The reality is that we cannot do this work without you. Yes, you can get a recorded version. Yes, you can. Please just drop your email on the chat so we can reach out to you. Please drop your email just in case you're not on our mailing list. We'll send the video. We're also going to put it on Mind Trust and on the YouTube of Mind Trust. It's apologies for the glitches that we had at the beginning, but I'm sure that the meat of the substance has definitely been recorded. So Dr. Gboju, would you have any final words for us before we round up? It's been a great evening. Thank you, Tobiloba.
So thank you very much for all the kind words and the accolades as well. I just want us to, I always say that mental health professionals are an endangered species, and that the honest truth is the best that people can do for themselves is to cater to their mental health. We want to see you well. We want to see you healthy. It's the reason why, conversations like this continue to hold. So please make yourself a priority, not an option. Your mental health matters. It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay not okay. So please pay attention to your mental health. Thank you.
What else can I say? It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay not okay. And we'll all be okay. So I wish us a wonderful 2025. Merry Christmas in advance. See you next month when we come up with the next meeting like this from Mind Trust. And please check out Dr. Gboju Bola Abiri on her social media handles. Just search Dr. G. You'll find her. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Dr. G, bye for now.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.